The desert forces a severe calculation on every biological process. Between high temperatures, intense radiation, and unpredictable precipitation, standard life forms cannot easily endure. The core physiological problem for plants in this environment is transpiration. To perform photosynthesis, plants must open pores in their leaves, which inevitably allows moisture to evaporate. This animated model shows the lethal math for a standard plant. The dry atmosphere pulls water out of the leaves significantly faster than roots can extract replacement moisture. Operating at a severe deficit, cell pressure drops, tissues collapse, leading to irreversible wilting and death. To avoid this fate, a plant must depart from standard leaf and stem anatomy to become a xerophyte. It must either engineer itself into an impenetrable fortress or survive as a dormant ghost. Surviving extreme scarcity requires severe biological compromises. These species abandon typical goals of rapid growth and expansive canopies just to cheat death. The saguaro cactus, native to the Sonoran Desert, relies entirely on the fortress strategy. It endures drought by gathering and hoarding massive quantities of water. Its root system is designed for instant collection. Aside from a single 2-foot taproot, the plant deploys a vast shallow radial network, stretching outward as far as the cactus is tall, to immediately absorb sudden, brief surface rains. Once absorbed, the water is pumped into the deep interior of the stem. This space is packed with specialized parenchyma cells, which act collectively as a giant biological sponge. This schematic illustrates the sheer scale of that internal storage. When rainfall is plentiful, a mature, fully hydrated saguaro can hold up to 4,800 pounds of water, roughly the weight of a large SUV standing upright in the desert. Securing thousands of pounds of liquid against gravity requires dedicated structural engineering. Otherwise, the massive stem would simply buckle. A network of interconnected woody ribs forms a vertical skeleton, bearing the tremendous physical load of the waterlogged parenchyma cells. By relying on extreme bulk and heavy structural support, the saguaro functions as a giant, living water tower in an otherwise dry landscape. Becoming a water tower creates an obvious vulnerability. The plant acts as a massive reservoir for thirsty herbivores, all while baking in extreme heat. Regular broadleaves provide too much surface area for evaporation. The saguaro replaces them entirely with these highly modified leaves, clusters of sharp spines. Beyond just piercing animals that try to bite into the stem, the spines serve a critical thermal function. They cast thousands of overlapping shadows, creating a layer of microshade that physically cools the plant's surface and reduces internal heat. Beneath those spines lies a thick epidermis covered by a heavy, waxy cuticle. This outer layer acts as a hermetic seal, locking the hoarded moisture safely inside the parenchyma cells. Because the wax is impervious, water can only escape through tiny pores called stomata. The saguaro keeps these tightly closed, opening them only when strictly necessary for gas exchange. The fortress strategy works by securing a massive internal resource behind a heavily sealed, shade-generating, and armored defensive wall. In regions like the Chihuahuan Desert, continuous drought makes hoarding water impossible. Plants here must adopt the opposite approach, embracing extreme desiccation. Salaginella lepidifila, a species of spike moss, deals with dehydration by completely shutting down its metabolic functions. As the environment dries out, a graded distribution of lignified cells reacts to the physical strain of water loss. These changing tissue properties forcibly pull the outer stems, rapidly curling it inward along a tight structural gradient. It achieves dormancy as a compact, leathery brown ball. Having lost up to 95% of its moisture, it can remain in this suspended, death-like state for years. When ground and air humidity finally rise, the process reverses. Internal sugar crystals dissolve, the parched leaves rapidly imbibe water, and normal photosynthesis resumes within hours. True biological resilience in this environment means dropping all defenses, giving up the fight, and letting the desert dictate your state of being until conditions improve. In most ecosystems, a successful plant grows rapidly, outcompeting its neighbors by spreading a massive leafy canopy to capture sunlight. Xerophytes make a severe trade-off. They sacrifice maximum growth rates and vast surface areas, specifically to endure continuous water deficits. This chart reveals the extreme penalty. A standard tree shoots upward over a decade, while a 10-year-old saguaro measures just 1.5 inches. Yet with slow growth, the cactus reaches 60 feet over a century, long after standard plants wither. In maturity, its heavily defended architecture eventually provides crucial shelter and resources for other desert life, like birds nesting in its cavities. Evolution offers no single correct answer to an environmental crisis, whether armoring up like a succulent to protect afforded resource, or desiccating into a dormant state like the resurrection plant. Life engineers specific, highly effective solutions to the same deadly problem. The desert demonstrates that life persists not by ignoring scarcity, but by rebuilding itself around it.